Today, we're in Bath Township, Ohio, a quiet suburb that sells itself on safety, but in the early hours of November 2nd, 2025, that illusion shattered inside a rented mansion on Topo Hill Drive. A birthday party promoted on Snapchat and Instagram drew more than 50 teens and young adults. Before it ended, 9 people were shot and one, 18-year-old Elia Wells, was dead. This is a developing story, still under investigation. Bath Township PD and the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation haven't released much. But between the body cam footage, dispatch logs, and public records, we can start to build the timeline they're not talking about. Listen up, Pinnacle Nation. If you want to keep this roll call tight, head over to www.theinfamousexchief.com. That's Command Central. From there, you can slide into Patreon. It's a monthly subscription with exclusive drops at least once a month, or lurk for free just to jump in on the polls and pretend you had a say. Discord. That's where the real chatter goes down. Think of it like the squad room. The coffee's cold, the jokes are bad, but everyone's running their mouth. And the best part, you don't need some shiny Facebook profile. You can show up as Detective Donut or Sergeant Snark or Detective Dimmer Switch if you want. Nobody cares. Just get in and start talking. Hit the links for YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Apple Podcasts. That's standard issue stuff right there. Old school? Not a problem. Email me. Feeling paranoid? Use Signal. Signal it over. Encrypted tighter than a rookie's first report. Want your voice on the record? Speak pipe. Leave me a voicemail. If it doesn't sound like you're 3 sheets to the wind, I might even use it. Got a tip on a case? Fill out the tip sheet. Be as quiet or loud as you want. Do I burn sources? Ask him. Oh, wait, you can't. Want me to cover a case? Drop it under case consideration. Or keep it simple. Buy me a coffee and grab me a Brew Loud Be Heard mug. Because this isn't just a channel, it's a shift briefing. Be loud, be heard, shake the system until the truth falls out. I'm Scott Gardner, former cop, former homicide detective, and former chief of police in one of the most violent per capita cities in the United States. I've lived on both sides of the law. I know how power works, and I know what happens when nobody's watching. This is the infamous Ex-Chief platform. We make sure government is doing its job. We give a voice to the people who don't have one, and we shine a light on the stories that were never supposed to see daylight. According to ABC News, the party was blasted across social media. BYOB, music, vibes, no snitches. The mansion, a high-end Airbnb in a township that banned short-term rentals years ago. Neighbors told the Akron Beacon-Journal that they saw cars choking in the cul-de-sac, headlights sweeping as teenagers poured in. By midnight, the crowd topped 100. Then, gunfire. Different calibers, dozens of rounds. Cut 1 and 4.
What happened? Who shot? We don't know. Can you move your car just so we can get through?
Top of the Hill Drive. Heavy first. 2 people possibly shot. 2 victims shot. PD's on scene. Stayed until scene is secure. Time now, 10 minutes. Staff units, just to advise, I do not have a description of the shooter.
Hey, was the shooting at that house?
Yes!
Who did? Do you know who did it?
I don't know! I got my girl that's still shot in the arm and 2 more.
There might be one on top.
No,
They just took off and it's dark and we don't know.
last I was told, the shooter's gone. I went in the house to get that girl. She was on the floor.
9 down, panic everywhere. Elijah Wells was hit 8 times. His mother later told the Beacon Journal, "I was robbed of my son." She wants Airbnb and the property owner held accountable. Airbnb issued its usual statement. Account removed, unauthorized party ban reaffirmed. But that didn't answer the bigger question. How was an illegal rental ever live on their platform in the first place? By the time officers arrived, the damage was done, and that's where the paper trail starts. So, 12:07 a.m., that's when the first 911 call comes in. Multiple people shot, and Bath Dispatcher logs it into their CAD system. Cut 2.
327, I'm up at the house. Is there still someone in there shooting? I don't know.
36 minutes after midnight, Unit 302 radios in, "We do not have the shooter at this time. No description." And at 47 minutes after midnight, dispatch notes, "Contact BCI crime scene." 1:03 a.m., BCI acknowledges the call. Agent Larry Hootman takes point. But the first record of BCI on scene doesn't appear until 4:08 a.m., and that's a 3-hour gap. In those hours, officers triaged victims on the floor, secured the driveway, and called for every neighboring agency they could. Akron, Copley, Fairlawn, Richfield, Summit County Sheriff. The radio traffic was pure chaos. Where am I going? Can we get another med unit? Who's with the kid in the garage? At 12:45, 302 reported, "Topo here clear. Suspect still at large." He continues, "Last I was told, the shooter's gone. I went into the house to get the girl. She was on the floor." A scene like this doesn't pause for procedure. You stabilize and move, but when forensics arrives 3 hours late, evidence bleeds away with the victims. Bath called in everyone. Akron Fire Department, Cleveland Clinic ambulances line the street. Fairlawn and Copley officers helped lock down the block. By 1:55 a.m., 9 patients were en route to Akron General and Akron City hospitals. Dispatch logged one mother calling in, stating, "She wants to know what we're doing about the shooter that shot her daughter. She says she's going to sue the fuck out of our city." The single-page incident report simply reads, "Scene secured and turned over to BCI crime scene for processing." And that's bureaucratic shorthand for "we did what we could until the state arrived." Cut 3.
Where's she shot? We need to figure out where she shot at.
What they found when daylight hit was a war zone. Casings everywhere. 4 different calibers. 7.62, 9mm, 45 caliber, and 300 blackout. This is not one shooter. That's a crossfire inside a crowd of teenagers. Cut 5.
We had a mass casualty shooting up on top of Hill.
Here's the part almost nobody talks about. The party shouldn't have been possible in the first place. Bath Township's own zoning laws don't allow short-term rentals. And that's not rumor, that's fact. Cut 6.
It's a big Airbnb party, probably hundreds of people, and a shooting in the house. I mean, it's a fucking disaster. So, all right, thanks, bye.
The police chief told the Associated Press the mansion on top of the Hill Drive was not allowed under local zoning ordinances to be used as a rental through Airbnb. So, how did it happen? The Bath Township zoning resolution, last amended September 5th, 2023, lays out what can and can't be done on township land. It says the purpose of the code is to, quote, promote the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the public, to conserve property values, and to prevent overcrowding or undue concentration of population. Short-term rentals or transient lodging don't appear as a permitted use in any residential district. That means if you're renting your house on Airbnb in Bath Township, you're already violating zoning law. Yet this house was live on Airbnb's site. It was listed, booked, paid for, and filled with teenagers from across Summit County, right up until the gunfire started. That's not just a tragedy, that's regulatory failure. The ban had been on the books for years. But like most small governments, enforcement comes down to manpower and willpower, and both are in short supply. Airbnb's official statement called the shooting a tragic and senseless act of violence, adding that the account responsible had been permanently removed. They also repeated their global no-party policy, the same one they've cited after shootings in Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Columbus. But policies don't mean much when the property is already illegal before anyone even opens the app. And Bath Township zoning was supposed to prevent exactly this kind of chaos. Strangers, crowds, alcohol, guns, in a residential neighborhood. And a suburban cul-de-sac turned into a crime scene. This isn't about banning technology or blaming one platform. It's about accountability. If the township had enforced its own laws, or if Airbnb had verified compliance, 9 people might never have ended up in an ambulance. Cut to Airbnb party.
It's a big Airbnb party, probably hundreds of people and a shooting in the house. I mean, it's a fucking disaster. So, all right, thanks, bye.
That line from the Bath officer's body cam sums it up. A big Airbnb party, a disaster, and it was one that Bath Township's own ordinances should have never have happened at all. So what do we know so far? Let's lay out the facts as clean as we can get them. Because in a short story, still under investigation, the facts we do not have matter even more. So we know time and place. Around 12:15 on November 2nd, 2025, the gunfire erupted at a large birthday party held at a rental home on the 900 block of Topo Hill. The home had been booked through Airbnb despite the township's prohibition on short-term rentals. Number 2, victims, 9, were injured in the shooting. The group included juveniles, many under 18, and adults, according to People.com. One victim, 18-year-old Elijah Wells of Akron, was shot 8 times and later died from his wounds. At least one person's injury may have resulted from a fall, not a bullet, according to the police chief. Number 3, scene details. The party was advertised on social media. On arrival, officers and first responders encountered chaos, screaming, running, blood everywhere, as one caller told dispatch. Multiple calibers of evidence found at the scene suggest more than one shooter, shell casings, and a large number of rounds. Number 4, investigation status. No arrests have been publicly announced. Investigators are reviewing surveillance footage, interviewing attendees, and asking the public for video and tips. It remains unknown how many fired shots, or who fired them, or what triggered the violence. Number 5, regulatory context. The rental home was in violation of Bath Township zoning. Short-term rentals like this are not permitted in residential zones. Airbnb has suspended the listing and removed the renter's account in response. Bottom line, the scene is clear. The property wasn't permitted. A huge unauthorized party, multiple shots fired, 1 life lost, serious injuries, and 0 known suspects. We're looking at a crime scene that's been locked down, evidence still being processed, and a community asking why. But what we don't know yet is still deep: motive, shooter, identity, full number of shooters, and whether the rental property owner or platform will face the accountability. An Akron police unit reported a vehicle that had sideswiped the suspect's red Hyundai near Hampshire and Market. Several cars were towed back to Bath PD for evidence: a gray Chrysler 200, a gold Jeep Grand Cherokee, a white Pontiac Grand Prix, and others. And by 3:13 a.m., Judge Oldham had signed a search warrant for the property. And at 4:08 a.m., BCI finally logged on scene. A bullet removed from a female victim's back was bagged at Akron General around 5:40 a.m. The public records email sent to me 2 days later listed detectives Dan Riley and Rob Young as lead investigators and explained that it was still under investigation, so a lot of things were redacted. So mainstream coverage was uniform: WKYC, Cleveland 19, IdeaStream, Cleveland.com. They pretty much all quoted the same press release. Juveniles party, shots fired, no suspect, ongoing investigation. No mention of the 3-hour delay, no mention of 4 different calibers, no mention of parents calling dispatch in real time. On X, the story was different. Local resident Lily Wilmot posted, "Heard at least 10 shots, different guns, a couple dead." It went viral within minutes. An independent account, JLR Investigates, posted cell phone video from the streets, flashing lights, traffic gridlocks, kids screaming. So News Channel 5 uploaded the chief's press briefing, calling it a senseless act of violence. Each clip shows the same thing from different angles, a small department swallowed by a scene it couldn't contain. So, people have asked me, how did Bath Township PD do, in my opinion? So let's talk about the response. Over on the infamous ex-chief's Patreon page and the infamous ex-chief's Facebook page, but on the Patreon page, you can watch the full unedited body camera footage. And a member of Tentacle Nation left a comment that stuck with me on Facebook. Cops in small agencies get less than a week of training a year, almost all of it online. When they work in a quiet town, they get nearly zero reps responding to critical incidents until they do get that call, and the public expects them to play like they're in the Super Bowl, and then go back to making $20 an hour part-time, mediating neighbor disputes, and writing 36 miles an hour and 35 speeding tickets. That perspective captures what Bath Township officers were facing that night. The first 911 call hit dispatch at 12:07 a.m. Bath officers arrived within minutes. Not a full shift of them, just a handful on duty. They immediately called for help from Akron, Copley, Fairlawn, Richfield, and the Summit County Sheriff's Office. That's what you're supposed to do when you're outnumbered and outgunned. Get back up rolling. From there, they went straight to work. Bodycam audio captures them forcing entry, clearing rooms, and trying to locate victims. Backup. I'm getting through. We've got a girl down on the floor. Last I was told, the shooter's gone. So they stabilized victims, secured the house, and coordinated with medics under enormous pressure. That's the operational side. And they handled it all as well as anyone could have with the resources they had. Now for the strategic side, Bath Township isn't built for scenes like this. It's a low-call volume suburban department suddenly dealing with a mass casualty shooting. The Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation didn't arrive until 4:08 a.m., almost 3 hours later. That delay isn't on the patrol officers. It's a structural weakness baked into how Ohio handles major incidents in small jurisdictions. For those 3 hours, Bath officers had to hold the scene, preserve evidence as best they could, and manage an active crime zone with victims still being transported. That's where small agency reality meets public expectation, and it never matches. So here's the breakdown. Response time? Fast and appropriate. Coordination? Solid. They recognized the scale and brought in mutual aid quickly. Scene control? Adequate under chaos. They kept it contained. Forensic follow-through? Well, that wasn't necessarily on Bath Township. That was limited until the state investigators arrived. Communication? Professional but strained, as you'd expect with overlapping agencies. Bath Township didn't mishandle this call. They hit their ceiling. The officers on scene acted decisively and with courage. What failed was the system around them, a system that still expects small-town cops to handle big city crises with skeleton crews and budget store training. If you want to see that reality for yourself, the full body cam sequence again is linked on the infamous ex-chief's Patreon. And that Tentacle Nation comment wasn't criticism, it was context. And it reminds us why these conversations matter. Because good policing depends on preparation, not luck. I just want to briefly talk about Bath Township is not unique across Ohio. Small departments are handing off crime scenes to BCI and waiting hours for state agents to arrive. Meanwhile, parents show up at the ER doors begging for answers. In closing, we have 1 teenager dead, 8 others wounded, 4 guns fired, at least, hundreds of rounds, a township that banned rentals but never checked its own listings, and a community still waiting for straight answers. The story is still developing. We'll update you as the investigation unfolds with facts, not rumors. Always have the receipts here, because that's what we do. We make sure government is doing its job. We give a voice to the people who don't have one, and we shine a light on the truth, no matter how deep someone tries to bury it. Be loud, be heard, shake the system until the truth falls out.